Hello, welcome to the Ahval podcast. Today we have very special guest, legendary Turkish journalist, very important documentary maker and columnist, Can Dündar. Welcome to the program, Can Dündar.
Thank you so much for your kind words.
So, just yesterday, local Turkish court has granted the prosecutor's demand to treat you as a fugitive journalist, and they said if you don't return Turkey within 15 days, that could be seizure of your assets in Turkey. Can you please tell the viewers what is this case about? Why the Turkish government is going after you so aggressively?
They want me to put my head into their under their guillotine. What happened is I wrote a story 5 years ago and published the story in my paper, which I was the editor-in-chief. And it was a true story. They didn't deny the story. What they said was it was a state secret, so it shouldn't have been revealed. But as a journalist, it was my duty and responsibility to publish the story. It was about Turkish government's illegal operation, trafficking arms through Syrian rebel forces, Islamist guerrillas. So then when I published the story, the prosecutor asked 2 life sentences against me just for a true story. And since then, I was convicted, I was shot at, I was jailed, and now I've been living in exile just because of this story. So this is the price of a journalist have to pay for a true story in Turkey, unfortunately. And that show us how important the story was and how dangerous it was for the Turkish government, because we revealed their secret operation and without the knowledge of the parliament or even their own party. And now they decided to confiscate my assets in Turkey just to force me to go back to Turkey, and in fact, just to punish me because of this story. So, as a journalist, of course, as a journalist who's been working in Turkey for 40 years, I was expecting this, and because we have a history of oppression from the government towards the media in Turkey. That's the whole story, whole history of Turkish media. But to be honest, I've never thought about being in jail or being in exile till now. And I was journalist during even military coup times, and even the soldiers didn't touch the families or didn't confiscate the assets without any charge against the journalists. So this is a new era, and Erdoğan government is more aggressive than dictatorships, unfortunately. And this is the price we have to pay, and we've been paying it.
And I still remember President Erdoğan, I think after Cumhuriyet broke the story, he said that you would pay a heavy price. I think
right.
He is trying to make sure that you are paying the heavy price. For those from outside, Can Dündar became more famous outside of Turkey after the problems with Turkish administration. But Can Dündar has been a household name in Turkey since 80s, 90s, especially with your documentaries as well as your writings and journalism. One of the most respected and prominent journalists in Turkey, and now you find yourself in this very difficult situation. For next, since we caught you here on this very difficult story, but since we caught you, would you be able to tell us also in general overview of Turkish administration policies, how do you think the Erdoğan government is doing in Turkey?
Well, Turkey is one of the most isolated countries in the world, I guess. Uh, they have in fight with almost every neighbor, including Greece, Syria, Iraq, Iran, Russia, Cyprus. I mean, you name it, Erdoğan has it. You know, the enemies, full of enemies around Turkey. Not only this, he has problems with Trump government. He has problems with Putin. He has, of course, deep crisis with the European Union, and he took Turkey away from the Western world and tried to make Turkey as an Islamic republic. And finally, I guess, after 18 years in the government, the world finally noticed that and understood what Erdoğan wanted to do to Turkey. And now this isolation, I guess, would, of course, be a punishment for Erdoğan, but our aim is it shouldn't be a punishment for Turkey. So we are trying to divide Turkey from Erdoğan government, and which has different angles and different interests. And Turkish government's interest is very different than Erdoğan's. So the Western world, especially the United States and the European governments, should be careful to isolate Erdoğan from the Turkey's destiny, because what is in the interest of Erdoğan is not in the interest of Turkey, unfortunately. So we are fighting for a democratic, free Turkey, while Erdoğan is trying to keep the country as an Islamic republic. So this fight, this tug of war, would end with the victory of the democratic Turkey, hopefully. And we want the Western world to support this struggle.
Last final question. Do you think the opposition parties should, outsiders or the people of Turkey should be hopeful that these opposition parties can get together and do the job?
Well, Erdoğan's luck is not only his support from the Western world in the beginning, but also the position of the opposition has been helpful for him, because they couldn't manage to come together against Erdoğan in a kind of democratic umbrella. But finally, especially after the Istanbul's election, which ended with the victory for the opposition, they understood that when they came together, they could win something. And since then, the opposition parties start negotiating with each other, and now there's a kind of general consensus among the other parties. Some of them social democrats, some of them more conservative parties, but finally they are trying to build up a kind of coalition in the opposition for a pro-Erdoğan era, which is good. This is for the first time they are trying to build up a democratic coalition, and I guess the panic in the Erdoğan government is the result of this preparation. It won't be so easy for Erdoğan to leave the country or to run the country. So he will do his best to not to leave. But if the opposition would be clever enough to come together in a democratic alliance, this will be the Turkey's future, and I'm really hopeful about this.
Thank you so much for coming on today. We are looking forward to you again back in Turkey. We know that you already continue making your documentaries, but hopefully we'll see your documentaries also being done back in Turkey and continue to tell the story of Turkey.
I hope so too. Thank you so much for this opportunity.
Thank you for coming on.